you're down here in Dundalk with your volunteers, and what's important about today? What's the message for your volunteers?
Well, this is a kickoff on the drive to put on the ballot, independent party, the campaign of Nader Gonzalez. Matt Gonzalez is my running mate. He was president of the San Francisco City Council, and since then he's been a leading civil rights lawyer in the Bay Area in California. Under Maryland law, there has to be 10,000 verified signatures, which means we have to get about 20,000. Tom Shields is in charge of the volunteer petitioner campaign. He's in touch with people who've already said they're going to petition. There are various fairs and large gatherings coming up in the Baltimore area that are really very good venues to get people to sign their name on the petition. And you get to talk to people, you get to see what's on their minds, you get to convey your points. It's actually a very good skill to be a petitioner. You got to read people quickly, and sometimes you should read their expressions. You've got to react. You've got to move on. If they want to spend a lot of time hassling you, you've got to move on to the next person you want to get the signature from. And also, it gives you training for being a citizen activist all your life, because one of the points about a citizen activist who's successful is that the activist never gets discouraged. And the best way not to get discouraged is to do something every day where a lot of people deny you or say no to you, like walking past you and not signing on your board, and then you bounce back, and you bounce back, and you bounce back. So all successful citizen advocates have that resilience, and they refuse to be discouraged and demoralized, and because they bounce back, they become contagious in terms of their enthusiasm, determination, seriousness of purpose. Because what's at stake here is not just getting on the ballot, it's the future of our country and our country's role in the world, and whether your children and grandchildren are going to be driven into the ground by a corporate government and these global corporations they might have been born in the USA and rose to profit on the backs of American workers and go to Washington and get bailed out by American taxpayers. When they get in trouble overseas, they call on the U.S. Marines. But what do they say to the American people now, these big corporations? We're out of here with your jobs, with our industry. And where do they go? Fascist or communist dictatorships. And Washington helps facilitate that, even gives them tax benefits. The whole system is insane in that respect, and the sovereignty of the people has got to be reasserted, and that's not going to be done by corporations. You remember the preamble to the Constitution was "we the people." It was not "we the corporation," and so corporations must become our servants and not our masters, and that's what this campaign is about, because we have so many solutions to our problems: healthcare, insurance coverage, a fair tax system. We have ways to deal with affordable housing. The crazy war on drugs can be subjected to a much more rational approach to addiction. We have to reduce the enormous waste of your tax dollars in the Pentagon contracting system. We should be peace advocates. We should be humanitarian powers, superpowers around the world, not just be the biggest arms exporter around the world. We should have modern public transit, good recreation facilities for our young people so they don't just spend all their lives watching screens and professional sports played in stadiums funded by tax dollars. We've got a lot of solutions. Solar energy is on its way. Much more efficient motor vehicles can be ours, air conditioning, heating. That's where the optimism has to come from. So, and who's going to put this into play? Well, it's not going to be big business. Just ask yourself, who's saying no to a living wage? You know, McDonald's, Walmart, Kmart. Who's saying no to health insurance for everybody? The big HMOs, the health insurance companies, the drug companies. And your tax dollars are subsidizing all these companies. As they rip you off, they go to Washington and rip off you as a taxpayer. So you got to get aroused. You got to get indignant. You got to have fire in your belly, even if you know all these things. If you don't have a higher estimate of your own significance, to lock arms with your neighbors and friends and co-workers and really build a movement, and there's no one stopping you from showing up to city council meetings, rallies, marches. So don't make any excuses for yourself. Showing up is half of what democracy is all about. And we're there to facilitate it, to put our platform on the table in state after state as our road trippers go throughout the country. Finished in Arizona now, they're in West Virginia, they'll be here in Maryland, and you'll see it come up. I mean, we're going 5–6% in the polls, and we haven't got any national media yet. We should get it once the Democratic primary is over. At least we're promised it. And we can really move forward. Just always remember history. These little parties changed America, even though they never won a national election. The anti-slavery party, women's right to vote, the big movements and parties on labor, industrial workers, the farmers' populist party, remember the Greenback party? They never won a national election, but they changed America. Because that's where the new ideas come from, the new energy. That's where the willpower to change things come from. Not just speeches, but actually using our minds, our hearts, and our feet to turn this country around. And does it ever need turning around? 82% of the American people say America is being pushed in the wrong directions. 3/4 of the people say corporations are too much control over their lives. And even 61% of the voters think that both major parties are failing. So take heart with us. Let's have a real spirit underway here in Maryland. We get on the ballot, then we can go through the state, meet your friends, your neighbors, get on the media, and have a real impact on the state. At the least, we can stop America from sliding into the abyss and turn it around. You know, if people only knew that they have the power, and they grow up being told they don't have power, that they can't fight City Hall or Exxon, but you've got the power, and American history has proved that in moments of great civic heroism. So become petition gatherers, signature gatherers. You have a good time on the streets. It's an experience that people always look back on with a sort of strange joy. And they have a lot of stories to tell. And after all, you're the only people who interact with random people on the streets in an election campaign. And we want their feedback, the people you meet, and your feedback as well. So get in touch with Tom Shields and all the good people who showed up at this luncheon, and others that you know are similarly inclined in the way they want to turn this country around from the bottom up. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph.
And by the way, our website is votenader.org. That'll keep you going. This is a vivacious website. We've even interviewed a parrot. A parrot has been interviewed on our website. The name of the parrot is Cardozo, after the great jurist. And so we want to really do things no one's ever done before on our website. So keep in touch. And even some of your friends don't want to vote for us, maybe they'll sign on to our email list to get a different kind of interpretation, a more authentic analysis of this presidential race of 2008. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ralph.